The White House set to hold a press briefing in about an hour from now after the Wall Street Journal reported that the lab leak is the most likely origin of the COVID-19 pandemic. Joining us now is Arizona Republican Congressman Andy Biggs. Congressman, great to see you. Thanks for being with us. There's a lot hidden here. Is there more in store? Your thoughts?
Yeah, we really don't know because we haven't seen this classified document. It's been leaked to several people. But the reality is there's some huge problems from this, whether it's the censorship, whether Dr. Mark Siegel, Fox contributor, says it leads to totalitarianism. Yes, that's it. This linkage between government suppressing and censoring viewpoints that just simply question the origins, it's huge. This is a big story with a lot of implications that go to it. Everything from, was it the Wuhan lab? And were we funding part of the Wuhan lab gain of function research? So you have a whole panoply of issues here, Brian.
It's interesting. I was reading a piece in the Times today about how the U.S. and China relations are already at a low. And then you come out with the DOE report. China had already been restricting the WHO from going into investigating to find out the truth. What does this mean for you, if anything, about U.S.-China relations and being able to improve on that or not?
Well, it's really troubling. I really think that we've been kind of in a quasi-Cold War with China for several years now. China's, if we include this as part of what they want to do in our relationship with them, China wants to be the world's hegemon. And so this actually exacerbates the problem. It's nothing we should step away from. We need to get to the truth here, and we need to see what our government knew and why they were censoring people. But it's going to have a deleterious impact for sure on that U.S.-Chinese relationship, no doubt about it.
Congressman, if I can switch gears for a moment, because the Ukrainian President Zelensky asked House GOP members in Kyiv for more military aid. Listen to this.
If they do not support Ukraine, they will lose NATO. They will lose the clout of the United States. They will lose the leadership position that they are enjoying in the world.
So, Congressman, we have supported Ukraine to the tune of $100 billion plus. And part of the issue here is that we've actually not given them the weapons that they need. I'm not sure, what we spent that money on. But having said that, your reaction to Zelensky now?
Well, I think we should stop the funding. I believe that for a long time. We have not articulated a national security interest for the United States there, number one. Number two, we haven't even defined what victory looks like and what's necessary to happen. Now, one instance, they'll say, well, we have to retake Donbass, the Donbass region. Another instance, now lately, they're saying we've got Ukraine needs to get Crimea back. All of these things indicate that there is absolutely no idea in the top U.S. leadership on why we're even there and what we hope to accomplish. That's really dangerous for the United States. It's dangerous for Ukraine. It's actually dangerous for that region over there, because if we continue to help escalate this, I think you're going to see a broader regional war, and that's not going to be good for anybody in that region. We should be encouraging diplomatic resolution of this matter.
Congressman, you talk about the national security interest. Obviously, in the past weeks, China has gotten much more involved. It's hard not to see that they're using this potentially as a test case for their own foreign policy adventurism. Does that change the calculation for you in terms of the way we should be involved in Ukraine?
No, it doesn't, and I'll tell you why. What needs to happen is we need to step in diplomatically and help de-escalate this. But when we start adding more money, more materiel, and actually having troops on the ground or advisors on the ground, it's reminiscent of the old Vietnam era, where we've put all of those things there then, and it slowly escalated into a regional war. We are effectively fighting a proxy war right now with Russia. The last thing in the world I think we should be doing is escalating that.
$113 billion. We just flashed it up on the screen there. Thank you so much, Congressman Andy Biggs.